Welcome. This is JGWS Sports, breaking down the Chicago's Bears all season so far. We just, crowned a champion in the Los Angeles Rams not too long ago. Congrats to them. But as far as the Bears, the off season, I feel like has definitely made progressions in the right direction to where this organization can actually, start being a consistent winner for years to come. So let's start with the first person, the first domino to fall, Ryan Poles, GM. So he replaces Ryan Pace, who's the Bears GM for the past 4 to 5 years. He comes into a situation where the Bears is in disarray with Matt Nagy running the show for the past 4 years, and then prior to that, John Fox. Prior to that, Tressman. Basically, the Bears, head coaching spot hasn't been the same since Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith, at least brought leadership and guys buy in and fought for him, competed hard day in and day out. And since then, it's been abysmal. Well, a couple of hot flashes here and there, but consistency has not been there as far as winning. Here in the Chicago market, we love our teams, but we also love, winning teams, especially with the Bears. We want to see winning football. And so Ryan Pace, he comes from the Kansas City Chiefs, been with that organization since '09, from scout to assistant director. He basically, came up the charts, earned his way up. Basically the next hottest big thing coming out. He's, responsible for, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, basically all their superstars. And so he definitely comes in with a pretty nice resume. As you see, Kansas City is always in the AFC Championship game ever since Patrick Mahomes became the starter. And I know with the previous regime hiring Matt Nagy, I guess they thought that, we can, replicate Andy Reid's offense, basically try to duplicate everything that they can do. And of course, as you see, it failed, make the playoffs twice in his tenure, including a double doink in the playoffs. Yeah. But anyway, Ryan Pace, he comes in. I believe my personal thoughts is I think we hired the right guy, and it showed as soon as he came in. He said he wants full control of hiring his guy. He wants to pick out the guy. In the past, the Bears always will have somebody, consulting with the GM and they'll figure it out. No. Ryan Poles came in and said, I will be your GM, but the stipulation is I'm picking out the guy. I'm going to be in there alone. I'm going to get a feel for the guy. And I'm going to get the guy that I feel like that's going to work best for me, work best for the Bears to get basically to revamp the whole situation for the better. And that's what he did. And so he picked out Matt Eberflus, defensive coordinator from the Indianapolis Colts, who I guess, primarily like the Colts defense the last few years have definitely been top tier. They got those guys forcing turnovers, creating pressure, playing hard. He's a player's coach. And so I know a lot of people within the fan base is like, well, how come we can't, get a offensive-minded coach? This is an offensive-driven league. We need offense. We need to score points. We need to, be competitive on offensive end. Like, all of that I completely understand. But we just had Matt Nagy, who was supposed to have been the guru, the offensive guru to, take us leaps and bounds. After his first 10 games with the Bears, when he was putting up 30 points a game, it went crashing down. We haven't seen the same since the first 10 games when he was the head coach. What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, I don't believe it matters if the guy came from the offense, the defense, special teams, position coach, I don't know, came from the the back room at Walmart. Okay, maybe that's a little too far. But what I'm trying to say is the head coach, in my eyes, should be able to lead a group of men, be able to galvanize the troops, be able to have players to play for him, and make sure everything else runs smoothly. So as long as Matt Eberflus can do that, his job is fine. So I'm okay with the hire. As long as Matt Eberflus can, once again, have guys play for him. I'm perfectly fine with that. So he comes from an organization who's, been consistent. More times than not, been in the playoffs. More times than not, winning a couple of playoff games. So you got Ryan Pace and Matt Eberflus. So far, so good in my eyes. They both had a press conference. Basically said they're going to, tailor the offense around Justin Fields, highlight his strengths. That is a breath of fresh air and music to my ears compared to what we've seen in year one with Justin Fields, based on the lack of leadership and adequate play calling and decision making that came from Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace to set that man up for failure. Matt Nagy didn't even want to start him. It was McCaskey that forced him to start him. He didn't want to start him at all. Matt Nagy did a lot of sabotaging for my Chicago Bears. A lot went into last season, and quite frankly, both of them shouldn't even have been brought back. So I am definitely curious to see what Eberflus and Poles do for Justin Fields. I am definitely curious to see what happens there. The only wide receiver on the roster that's signed right now is Darnell Mooney. I believe the only tight end that's signed right now is Cole Kmet. You still have David Montgomery. You still have Khalil Herbert. Those are your skill position players right there. So you have somewhat of a base, but we still got a lot to work around. Ryan Poles came out and said that, hey, the offensive line in a nutshell is trash, and we're going to address it. We're just not going to sweep it under the rug and ignore it, put a Band-Aid on it and hope it fixes it. No. We're going to deconstruct it. We're going to actually get guys out there that wants to play on the offensive line, that wants to protect that quarterback, that wants to do their job. I mean, Ryan Poles used to be an offensive lineman. He tried out for the Bears. And, of course, it didn't work out primarily, but it comes full circle back around. Now he's the GM several years later. So he's not sugarcoating anything. He knows exactly what he needs to do. So with the lack of draft picks, we don't have a first-round pick. We don't have a fourth-round pick. Cap space isn't bad. Definitely compared, to that team in Wisconsin, who's like $45 million over the cap right now. So we can definitely get creative here, and I believe he will do so. I have faith in Ryan Poles to get the job done. Now, for the defensive side of the ball, front seven isn't bad. Still need to re-sign a couple of players there. Now, as far as the King Knicks, I don't know what they should actually do, because before the whole new change of GM and stuff, it looked like the writing was on the wall and he's going to be out the door. But, I mean, we'll see. He still might be out the door. But if he does come back, I feel like it's going to have to be at a discount because the man can't stay healthy. He's a great player, great talent. But sometimes your best ability is availability. And he hasn't really been that in the past 2 to 3 years. Now, a glaring hole on the defense is the cornerback spot um, on the other side of Jalen Johnson there. So that needs to be addressed one way or another. Maybe another safety, but we'll see. I have faith. Um, the Bears are going back to a 4-3 scheme on defense, so I that should definitely help. I mean, all in all, Bears so far, I feel like have done a solid job. Definitely a solid job so far. Got the right. I feel like they have the right GM in place. The coach and the GM looks like they're in cohesion with each other. They're on the same page. Believe in the same philosophy, and that that's a beautiful thing. Because I can't remember the last time the head coach and the GM for the Bears were actually on the same page. It really, I can't remember. And so, in order for an organization to be successful, it starts at the top and it trickles all the way down. And to have that cohesion, it gives me the warm and fuzzies inside. Like, I'm actually going to be excited. This is like night and day from last year at this time. Because as Bears fans, we sitting here like, all right, these guys got to go. We need to clean house. And then all of a sudden we heard, they're going to be back for one more year. And then they signed Andy Dalton. And then they post on Twitter, he's QB1. The whole fan base erupts. And then somehow the only bright spot that they did was somehow trade up to get Justin Fields, who I am a firm believer is going to be a great quarterback in this league when put in the right position. Can have all the talent in the world in the quarterback, can have all the skills. If you're not in the right position, you can't succeed. You can't do it. And I feel like these guys are going to get it done. I feel like they're going to do whatever steps necessary to put the best team around him, to put guys that wants to play football under that philosophy, that's going to play hard every down, that's not going to check out in the middle of plays, that's going to check out for the season early, like Allen Robinson. Now, granted, Allen Robinson was set up for failure just like Justin Fields, because it seemed like Matt Nagy like schemed him purposely out of plays. Allen Robinson is a definitely a wide receiver one in this league, and for him to be underutilized like that was embarrassing. And with him, being on the 1 year from the franchise tag, I get it. But at the same time, the man did check out. And at the end of the day, we don't need guys that's going to check out. We need guys that's going to be willing to work. That's why I respect Darnell Mooney. He came to play week in and week out, knowing that the locker room and the coaching staff was toxic, was not a winning environment by any means. The coach was just looking out for himself and his job security. He'll do everything that he could to save his job, even if it means sabotaging the team. Darnell still came out to play. So we definitely need guys that's going to come out and play week in, week out. We need another big name wide receiver to go along. Darnell Mooney. Definitely need to address the offensive line. Definitely need to add depth there as well. Linebackers. Maybe resign Ogletree. Marsh, maybe. I want to see a healthy and a motivated Khalil Mack. So there's definitely a lot of, I ain't going to say angry fans, but definitely anxious ones to see like, hey, outside of year one, where have you been? We can only blame the injury so long. That's a thought process. Are you still that all-pro player, that all-decade player, that future first ballot Hall of Fame player? Are you still him? That's the thought process around here. I think he is, but the general consensus is, are you still there? What have you done for me lately? Say if we need another corner, Jalen Johnson could only cover one man at a time. The other side was getting ate up all year. So we'll see. More things to come. This is JGWS Sports. Appreciate you all.